Hello, everyone. Welcome back once again. I'm Nicodemus Kane. Today is August the 26th of 2022. As far as I know, I still have a YouTube channel. I uploaded a whole bunch of stuff all at once. So hopefully I haven't been... Oh, wait, what's this? Oh, okay. Something else. Hopefully I have not been pulled yet. I'm actually looking right now. My penalty period is over. Yeah. And yeah. Let's get rid of these. I don't need to see this stuff right now. I still have, yes, my strikes expire November the 15th. So I am still under watch. Because you just know how it is. Let me see where the, I'm looking through just to see. There it is. What am I doing? Yeah, they're still up. They're still good. They're still existing. Just, man. Except for the one. I now officially, like I said, I now officially have the 2 videos removed. That Mark of the Beast one, man. I don't know what I said. I really don't know what I said. Apparently they thought it was enough, though, that they could pull it. But whatever. I wouldn't mind going back through and listening to it, though. I almost wonder if I go back through, if I were to listen to my own videos and give a counter argument, would that be enough for YouTube to say okay? Because according to the terms of service for YouTube, you have to provide, I mean, you can talk about this stuff, even though it says it, even though it's written down, they don't have to necessarily, go by it. But what they say is you can talk about conspiracies, you could talk about these things, you could talk about things that don't seem right, but you have to provide the counter argument. It's in the terms of service. So I wonder if I could listen to it, and if I provide just enough of a counter argument that it will still seep through. I don't know. I've wondered about that, though, because there are some videos that I would not mind going back through and listening to and giving commentary to, because so many things have changed now. Some of those early videos, I'm sure that I was on the ball for a lot of stuff, but I'm sure that there were other things that have probably changed now, but I don't know. But that's what's going on right now. We'll have to see if I get pulled again. I don't think I will, but then again, that one video I made a little while ago of the 13 totally unrelated things, I tried my best. I tried my best. Anyways, today it's Isaiah 36. Interesting things afoot with Isaiah 36. I'm sitting here reading it, and I'm like, well, shoot, I may have gotten stuff wrong, but I don't know. So, Isaiah 36 deals with the king of Assyria coming up and taking Jerusalem. Now, pretty much everything we have read for the past 35 chapters has been talking about the day when the king of Assyria will rise up and will take over the cities to the north. It talks about the king of Assyria coming from the south, taking everything, and then keeping it. He keeps moving up into the north, and he takes Edom, and he takes with the other ones, whatever the other ones are up at the top. But it talks about the king of Assyria taking over the whole land. But then it also talks about the day when this happens, that God will wipe out everything. That he will call his saints and he will, take out the world. This is after the king that he says that he is going to put in judgment, which is Christ. This is after that, whenever he comes and takes over and they flatten everything. This is right before the 1,000 years. Or is it? I don't know. It's a very tricky thing now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, and I'm like, well, so what's going on here? And I'm sure if I look up some kind of commentary, it might give me some completely wacky thing. So I don't know. So we're going to read it. And we're going to see exactly what it means. Now, one thing I did hear from somebody along the line is they said the Bible likes to repeat itself. As in, the timeline likes to repeat itself. We talk about the Great Resets all the time. We talk about how God has to... how he lifts certain people up, and how he makes certain wars happen, and how he destroys certain kingdoms. How the end times, those things talked about in Revelations, follow along almost word for word with what happened to Egypt right before the Exodus. The timeline rhymes. I know it's a bad one. That time doesn't always repeat itself, but it does rhyme. But that's kind of what it is. You see that. It talks about the end of the world being as the days of Noah. So eventually everything gets back to that point. It has to be destroyed. So is this talking about, is everything that we've read before, everything from Isaiah 1 to Isaiah 35, is it about the end of days, like I've been saying, or is it about this point where they're going to talk about this king of Assyria coming up through Jerusalem? Now, granted, everything we've read about, he talks about destroying the land, about causing the waters to rise up, and causing all this destruction and pain, and causing all these people to go away. At the same time, there's other markers that we need to kind of talk about. I don't know. I can't say for 100% what it is or isn't. I know that as we've been reading for the past 30-something days, more than that, actually, we've been getting a clear picture of the end times. So many Bible scholars, so many pastors, so many people have talked about this as if it were the end times, and I agree with that. So is this coming chapter, is chapter 36 going to be a rhyme of that in some way, shape, or form? I'm sure there's going to be something in there that we can look at and we can say, this is going to be something that, we can see coming because it's going to take a similar shape. Maybe, you know, maybe we just have to read it and find out. So let's go ahead and do it. See what we can see and figure out what's going on with it. Again, I am not studied in any way, shape, or form. I am just a guy. I'm just a guy that was saved, and I was told to read this, and I am giving my opinion, my expression on it. I'm sure there's other ways of looking at it, but I do know that the Bible does talk about the end times, the prophecies of the end that match up with things that happen in Revelation that coincide with things that have already happened. So there is this pattern. So I don't know, but let's go ahead and read it, and we'll see if we can get something. See if we can get something out of it. So, chapter 36. Now it came to pass in the 14th year of King Hezekiah that Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came up against all the defenced cities of Judah and took them, which is exactly what it says would happen. It said the king of Assyria would come through Judah and take the cities. I'll even point the thing out. It wasn't until like chapter 6, I think it was. Let me see. I know, we'll get back to it. Because chapters 1 through 5 talked about pretty much nothing but, you guys have been doing this, you guys have been doing that, you guys are going to have everything taken away from you unless you turn back. But then it's like, as soon as you hit 6 or 7, or maybe it's even after this too, it talks about the king of Assyria being brought up and laying waste to everything. And then after that, everything is laid to waste. So it's right here. Chapter 7. I'm looking to see if it might be before that, but I don't see it. Chapter 7. Let's see, there it is. Chapter 7, verse 14. Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and call his name Emmanuel. I see, that's the birth of Christ. The Lord shall bring unto thee and unto thy people. This is 7:17. Shall bring unto thy people and unto the Father's house days that have not come, from the day that Ephraim departed from Judah, even the king of Assyria. And it shall come to pass in that day the Lord shall hiss the fly, blah, blah, blah. And for the bee that is in the land of Assyria. My nose. It is still that time of year that my nose is going absolutely crazy. And I lost my spot because I sneezed. 7:17? No. 7:19, and they shall come and shall rest all of them in the desolate valleys and in the holes of rocks and upon thorns. But in the same day shall the Lord shave with a razor that is hired, namely by them beyond the river, by the king of Assyria, the head and the hair and the feet, and shall also consume the beard. And then from there it just talks about the king of Assyria going through and taking everything until eventually it gets to Edom, and he takes Edom, he takes everything, and then from there everything just falls apart. And there's even mentions of the there's mentions of the system of Babylon falling apart. It's this whole concept of everything being destroyed. But on that same token, it says right here in the 14th year of King Hezekiah, which I just read like a second ago, it said that this means that it could be 708 or 700 BC is what they said. I feel like I'm back down in the basement with my nose the way that it is. So we have an understanding of the timeline of what's going on here. So has the end already happened? I don't know. Is the timeline skewed? Probably not in the Bible so much as, out here in the real world. Probably. But again, the end matches the beginning. So we can't say for 100%, that the end of days is going to be as similar as this. I don't know. Again, I don't know. I could always be wrong. I could absolutely always be wrong. And if I'm sure somebody that is way more learned than I am, somebody that has studied way more than I am, could probably point it out and say, well, see right there, there's this, there's that. And, I could read it for myself and I could agree with that. Right now, I can't see it. That's why we're studying. That's why we're learning these things. That's why we're going back and forth. That's why we're doing this. I think that's why I'm being led to do this. I don't know. So anyways, we're going to take this as it was a warning that he gave to the people. And sure enough, that warning came true for them. But it is also a warning for us, because he will do the same thing to us in these generations, so that we will know what happened. You will see it come to pass. He's giving us the ultimate warning. He's saying, look, this has already happened before. Check this out. This is what these people went through. This is what you're about ready to go through. Be prepared. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But let's read through it and see what's up, since I've already burned enough time as it is. Now it came to pass in the 14th year of King Hezekiah, that Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came up against all the defense cities of Judah and took them. And the king of Assyria sent Rabshakeh, there it is, Rabshakeh. And the king of Assyria sent Rabshakeh from Lachish, from Lachish to Jerusalem unto King Hezekiah with a great army. And he stood by the conduit of the upper pool in the highway of the fuller's field. Then came forth unto him Eliakim. All these names. Then came forth unto him Eliakim, Hilkiah's son, which was over the house, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah, Asaph's son, the recorder. All right, so we got a scribe, we got a recorder, and we have Eliakim, which is Hezekiah's son, or Hilkiah's son. Okay, now this is in the year of King Hezekiah, and all these names are very similar to each other. Sennacherib is the king of Assyria that is coming up. He sent Rabshakeh. To Jerusalem so that he could talk to them. All right, that's the setup. So we know what's going on. Verse 4, and Rabshakeh said unto them, Say ye now to Hezekiah, the king, say ye now to Hezekiah, Thus saith the great king, the king of Assyria, What confidence is this wherein thou trusteth? I say, sayest thou, but they are but vain words. I have counsel and strength for war. Now on whom dost thou trust, that thou rebellest against me? Lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt to all that trust in him. So that is woe unto, where's it at? Come on now. It's the burden of Egypt. Sure, but is that the one that... It said, woe unto those... Come on, where was it at? Woe to them that go down, chapter 31, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots, because they are many. It says you're going to go down to them, but even they will fall apart too. For in that day every man shall cast away his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which your own hands have made unto you for sin. Then shall the Assyrian fall with the sword, not of a mighty man, and the sword not of a mean man shall devour him, but he shall flee from the sword, and his young men shall be discomfited. So this is woe to them that go down to Egypt. But whenever this happens, whenever this Assyrian comes through, God will send his host, so shall the Lord of hosts come down to fight for Mount Zion, for the hill thereof. So, is that this? I don't know. I don't know yet. But it does say, woe to them that put their trust in Egypt. And of course, right here, it says, where did it go? Oh, come on, I just lost it. There it is. Verse 6, 36:6. Lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt to all that trust in him. But if thou say to me, we trust in the Lord our God, is it not he whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah hath taken away, and said to Judah and to Jerusalem, Ye shall worship before this altar? Now therefore give pledges, I pray thee, to my master the king of Assyria, and I will give thee 2,000 horses, if thou be able on thy part to set riders upon them. How then wilt thou turn away the face of one captain of the least of my master's servants, and put thy trust on Egypt for chariots and for horsemen? There it is again. And am I now come up without the Lord against this land to destroy it? The Lord said unto me, Go up against this land and destroy it. This is Rabshakeh going to them, saying, I was told by the Lord to come up through here. I was told by my king, what was his name again? Sennacherib, king of Assyria, come up through here. But you're putting your faith in Egypt, and all I'm saying is I'll give you 2,000 horses if you can join us. If you can join us and ride with us to battle, then we will not take you over and destroy you. That's what it's saying. Again, is this happening because it was foretold it was happening, or is this something again that is going to be similar to what's going to happen at the end of days? I'm going to say a little bit of both. But for right now, this is happening. It doesn't mean that somehow the Assyrians caught wind of this, that there was a prophecy that somebody made, said this will happen, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. Somehow the king of Assyria got a hold of it and said, you know what? This prophecy says that I'm going to rule over everything. Let's go take it. And you got to remember, at this time, Jerusalem was a fallen state anyways. They were worshiping the gods that they shouldn't be worshiping. What was the one? But if thou say to me, we trust in the Lord our God, is it not he whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah hath taken away, and said to Judah and Jerusalem, ye shall worship before this altar? So he took the high places and the altars away, but he's still telling them, worship before this altar. And of course, the beginning of Isaiah was talking about them worshiping to different gods, to worshiping to false gods, different altars. So the same thing is happening. So there's something going on here. See, it's when I read through it before I started recording, I looked at it and I stopped and I said, it's so similar to what's going on. It's really, really close to what's happening to us now. And we know that there are, again, places in Revelations where it talks about the locusts, and it talks about the sun and the moon losing their light and all this kind of stuff. Very similar to the things that happened in Egypt before the Exodus. So I could very easily see that pattern playing out. So there's still something here. There's still something here to see. For a layperson, though, for somebody that, didn't really understand, was just kind of reading it, they could read everything that came before, miss everything, but still understand the concept, and then see this and be like, oh, well, see, it was just prophesying that this happened. Yes, this absolutely did happen. What if it's also going to happen down the line? I don't know. Again, I'm not here to be a perfect Bible scholar. I'm just here to try to figure it out. That's what we're doing. We're trying to figure this out together. Where was I at? How to put thy trust in Egypt for chariots. Woe to them that put their trust in Egypt for chariots. And now am I now come up without the Lord against this land to destroy it? The Lord said unto me, go up against this land and destroy it. Is he telling the truth or not? You don't know. Verse 11. Then said Eliakim and Shebna and Joah unto Rabshakeh. Rabshakeh. Come on, man. You can say it. Unto Rabshakeh. Speak, I pray thee, unto thy servants in the Syrian language, for we understand it, and speak not to us in the Jews' language, Hebrews' language, in the ears of the people that are on the wall. Pray thee, speak unto thy servants in the Syrian language, for we understand it, and speak not to us in the Jews' language, in the ears of the people that are on the wall. So, of course, this guy, this Rabshakeh, he can speak in a language they can understand. But they are saying, speak it to your people, so that they know what's going on. But Rabshakeh said, hath my master sent me to thy master, and to speak And to thee to speak these words, hath he not sent me to the men that sit upon the wall, that they may eat their own dung and drink their own piss with you? That's cute. Then Rabshakeh stood and cried with a loud voice in the Jews' language and said, Hear ye the words of the great king, the king of Assyria. Thus saith the king, Let not Hezekiah deceive you, for he shall not be able to deliver you. This is him trying to turn the people of Judah, people of Jerusalem, against their own king. Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in the Lord, saying, The Lord will surely deliver us. This city shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria. They weren't really listening to anybody back then anyways, but, Hearken not to Hezekiah, for thus saith the king of Assyria, Make an agreement with me, buy a present, and come out to me, and eat ye every one of his vine, and every one of his fig tree, and drink ye every one the waters of his own cistern, until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, a land of corn and wine, a land of bread and vineyards. Make a present with me, and I will take you to a land like your own, but I'm going to occupy this land. Beware lest Hezekiah persuade you, saying, The Lord will deliver us. Hath any of the gods of the nations delivered his land out of the hand of the king of Assyria? So has any other gods besides ours ever delivered anybody delivered a land out of the king of Assyria? Where are the gods of Hamath and Arphad? Where are the gods of Sepharvaim? And have they delivered Samaria out of my hand? Who are they among all the gods of these lands that have delivered their land out of my hand, that the Lord should deliver Jerusalem out of my hand? But they held their peace and answered him not a word, for the king's commandment was saying, Answer him not. So this is Old Rabshakeh up here talking in the Hebrews language, talking in their language, asking them, telling them, don't let him deceive you. He's going to tell you that the Lord's going to save you, but it's not. My king is going to take this land whether you like it or not. Possibly because, he heard a prophecy. Possibly because he heard a prophecy that somebody here said that the king of Syria is going to come and take this over, and that it's going to be the Lord's will that it happens. He says, look, you come out to me with a present, you give me the land, and I will take you to another place, to a better place, where you can live, a place like your own. It's not going to be your own, but it's going to be a place like your own. That way you won't suffer what's coming, because Jerusalem was a bountiful land at the time. It was a place, it was not only strategically, but it was a place where it was very bountiful. I already said bountiful, didn't I? It was a place. I mean, this was the place the Lord brought Moses to, and he showed him. He said, "I'm not going to let you go down into it, but I'm going to show it to you. This is the place. This is the place that I promised you. It is a very bountiful land. You can have this. You will live here forever, and it will give you, the best crops. It will give you the best food. It will give you the best water. Everything. This is a place that everybody always wanted to try to occupy, but God always pushed everyone away. But now you've got this Assyrian coming up, and he's saying, if you come on out, don't listen to your king. Don't put your faith in Egypt. It's almost word for word for what the prophecy up until this point has been saying. Maybe they got wind of it. Who knows? Maybe this is what the prophecy is. Who knows? Again, there is a pattern. So whether what we have read before happens before, or whether what we have read is happening now, is something that I'm sure we'll be able to find out as we go. But of course, he said all this to the people of Jerusalem, and they did not answer because the king told them not to. So the last verse, the last paragraph break, verse 22, then came Eliakim, there it is, Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, and that was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah, the son of Asaph, the recorder, to Hezekiah with their clothes rent, and told him the words of Rabshakeh. Okay, and that's chapter 36, and I'm sure it continues into 37, but that's where we're going to stop. So they heard all these words, they went back to the king, and they told him with their clothes rent, which means that they were having a pretty big problem with it, and they told him all the words. So we're going to find out tomorrow what it means. It's interesting stuff. There's where was it at? Until I come and take you away to a land like your own, a land of corn and wine, wheat, grain, corn. Of course, history tells us that they did not even have corn in the world as a whole until way later in the game. Because it was mostly an American thing. See right here, after the arrival of Europeans in 1492, Spanish settlers consumed maize, and explorers and traders carried it back to Europe. So King James just said, they said it was corn. King James was written in the 1600s. That was after they brought corn back. It's fine. It's okay. That's fine. But the word that they used, the concordance says it's either wheat, cereal, grain, or corn. So, which one is it? A lot of other people have pointed out carvings on the walls, some paintings, old school carvings on the walls, even Egyptian carvings, I think somebody said, where they have these stalks of what they call wheat, because they have the tops of wheat and the tops of corn, when they seed, look extremely familiar, but they have these kind of carved on the walls, but they call them wheat, and they say that they're children playing in the wheat, because these stalks of wheat are like twice as big as a man, which is what corn does. I mean, I think corn gets up to 7 feet tall, maybe even more than that. I was thinking of sugar cane, twice as tall as a man, because sugar cane can get up to 20 feet if you get a good season. And believe that or not, that's actually true. Remember, I grew up in Florida. We have the city that we have is one of the biggest sugar plants. And you go through the museum down there, and they talk about back in the day when they used to let this stuff grow out for a while, it would get to be 20 feet tall. They don't do that much anymore because they're constantly harvesting. At best, cane only gets about to be 7 or 8 feet tall at this point. But they used to be able to grow really, really tall. So I was thinking it was like cane, but it's not. It's not twice as big as. I think it gets about 7 or 8 feet. I don't really know for sure, but they have these. 10 feet in height. There it is. 10 feet in height. Though some natural strains can grow to 43 feet. Tallest recorded plant can get up to 45 feet. That I did not know. Wow. I'm just sitting here looking at the corn. But anyways, they had these depictions in Egypt and in other places where they were like, look, there's these big, huge ass, carvings of these things. They look like corn, but they kept saying, no, it's just wheat. It's just tall wheat. That's all it is. And it was like, oh, that it doesn't matter. They didn't have corn back here. Corn was only found in, whenever we found the land in 1492. Now, of course, we know that's all a lie. Of course, if you're listening to this, you probably know it's a lie. I mean, to be fair. There were explorers to the Americas way before this, way before 1492. I even contend that they were out there. They've been out there and had the ability. I still say that you cannot convince me that the Egyptians had these big, huge ass ships, and the only thing that was keeping them from sailing off into the oceans was their fear of sea monsters. Shut up with that nonsense, man. Come on now. No, the Egyptians had ships that were bigger than Spanish galleons. They could go anywhere they wanted to, and they did. It was everywhere. There is evidence in America of Egyptians being in America. So there is absolutely evidence there for the Egyptians to be able to have gotten corn and brought it back over to Africa. There's evidence of it. It's entirely possible. Oh, but that's not what history says. Well, your history's wrong. All of history is wrong. It's a big lie. They don't want you to know the truth. They want you to think that everybody was isolated for years. So much so that they will lie to you about a plant. The only reason that there's not a lot of corn over in Africa and Europe and things like that is because it just doesn't grow there. It's not native to the, it grows. I'm sure they grow corn over there. I'm sure that, they're able to grow it perfectly in certain places. But in some places, it's just not meant to grow. So it doesn't grow. That's what it is. Oh, we should see it everywhere if they brought it over back in yada, yada, yada. No, not necessarily. They don't grow wine everywhere because wine doesn't grow everywhere. They don't grow grapes everywhere. That's mostly because of taste. Apparently, the dirt that you grow a vineyard in has something to do with the actual flavor of the wine. I don't know how it works. That's what they do. They'd grow that stuff everywhere if they could, but they don't. It's the same thing with corn. It's just you don't do it. It doesn't grow everywhere. That's why there's such a giant... It's why we export so much grain and corn to other countries to feed beef, that they export the beef back over to us. That's an actual thing. Look that stuff up. Is that only, what did they say? Something I read said that there's only 35 to 40% of the beef that Americans consume comes from America itself. The rest of it comes from other countries. But one of the biggest exports that America has is feed grain. So we produce feed grain from corn, ship it over to other countries in order to feed beef, in order to ship the beef back over for us to eat. It's a stupid cycle, is what it is. It's absolutely ridiculous. But that's how they do it. It's absurd. But it's possible. It's possible it's there. It's possible they could have actually been talking about corn. Do I think they were? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? You know, could you grow corn in Assyria? I don't know. I don't know. That's an interesting question. And not even really Assyria, so much as he was talking about taking them away to a land like theirs, very similar to theirs. So it's entirely possible. I just don't know. I'm not going to get that far into it. It just seems like a lot. It seems like a lot more to get into. Oh, look, there's something interesting right there. The Ukraine is actually the 5th largest country that makes corn. How fascinating. The United States is number 1. China is number 2, if you can believe that. Brazil, Argentina, and then the Ukraine. So the 5th largest producer of grain, only number 5, by the way. The 5th largest producer. And somehow magically there's a war with Ukraine and everybody says that there's not enough grain to go around. Give me a break. An absolute break. It's amazing though. The United States produces, it says right here, in 2020, of course these 2020, those numbers are wrong because they shut down a lot of grain places in 2020. The United States produced 360 million tons of corn. That is 1 million tons of corn for each person in the United States, guys. But it all goes somewhere else to feed cows. China produces 260 million. Where's all that going? Of course, then the Ukraine only produces 30 million. That is what? 12%? Not even 15%. The Ukraine doesn't even produce 15% of the amount of corn that the United States does. Yet when you start a war with Ukraine, they now say that there is a grain shortage. The hell? I gotta stop looking into this kind of stuff, man, because it's been getting depressing lately. It's been getting depressing because just people just will not wake up to this nonsense. Because it's absurd, man. It's absolutely absurd. People just cannot see it. There's a lot of people that are quote unquote waking up, but there's not a lot of people doing anything about it. You know? Everybody's saying, oh, it's enough is enough. We can't take it anymore. We're not going to live with this. You say that, and then the government goes ahead and buys out 87,000 new IRS agents. Proves to you that the IRS and the FBI can both come into your house anytime they wanted to. Then they change tax laws so that you have to pay more taxes while simultaneously sending the most amount of money in an aid bill to the Ukraine, a country that is a blip on the map, that is not that strategically placed, let's be honest. A country that doesn't really do that much. It just happens to be there. Don't even tell me it is. Don't tell me that the Ukraine is worth it. Most of that war crap looks fake anyways. But they sent X amount of dollars over as an aid package, bumping your taxes, increasing your taxes. And then they turn around and say, for that bump and increase in taxes, we're going to use it to pay off other people's school loans. We're going to eradicate school loan debt by raising your taxes. We're going to make sure that we do it right, because the IRS, we just hired 87,000 new IRS agents to be able to go door to door, in which part of their training is how to handle firearms. Do you see what's going on here? Are you awake yet? People want to bitch about it. Oh, I can't do that. Well, what are you doing? Are you changing it? Are you fixing it? Are you going out and doing anything about it? Or are you just going to bitch about it? Are you going to stay quiet while you're having family dinner? Are you going to not talk about it because you don't want to have any conflict with people? Are you not going to talk about it whenever it's Thanksgiving and you're broke because all your money got spent on frivolous garbage? Of course, I've already said, if you're bitching about school taxes now, if you're bitching about paying back somebody's student loan now, boy, you're going to be bitching once you find out where the rest of your money went. What you've been paying for the past 50-something years. You don't live in a free society. I don't think it ever really was free for the past 200-something years. We have been slowly and is bureaucratically a word? slowly but surely manipulated into a slave system. Your money means nothing. If your money has no value behind it whatsoever, if you have to pay back more on your money than the money is worth spending, which means the interest right now on them producing money is more than the money itself is worth, then your money is worthless. Therefore, you are a slave. You are a servant who gets good boy treats that you can use to buy stuff. That's what it is. But people don't see that because they got their bread and circuses. They're happy. Football season started. Psh, we don't need to talk about anything else. Football season started. We're going to go watch some football. We happy now. Gas is going down. Man. And who cares if the midterm elections are coming up and they're trying to, get us to be happy. Gas went down. Football's on. Hell yeah. Food prices might even go down a little bit. You never know. I'll definitely tell you that everything that needs to be on sale is going to go on sale. What's going to go on sale? Chips, burgers, hot dogs. Football food. It's August, going into September. It's cookout season. This is whenever we all like to go out and go camping. It's cookout time. This is everything's going to go down. And then when you unfortunately realize that all of this tax nonsense that they have laid upon you and all of this inflation that nobody is saying actually exists, when it comes around and you find out that you're dead ass broke in the middle of winter and they decide to spike some other disease or some other virus or whatever, and it comes back around to tax time, well, that's going to be some fun. You're going to find out just how much more your taxes have gone up and how much they don't care. They got 87,000 IRS agents that are more than happy to come knocking at your door to make sure that you're paying your taxes, because you have to pay off all this other stuff. I'm not even just talking about student loans. You got to help fund the war in Ukraine. We're not even in Ukraine. We're sending money. What was it? $3 billion. $3 billion in one go. How much money does it cost would it cost the world to end hunger in America? I don't remember. Somebody said it was like $5 billion. You're telling me that half of the amount of money that it would take to end hunger and homelessness in America, and we just sent it over to the Ukraine? The hell? You paying attention yet? Are you paying attention yet? Anyways, I was trying to tie it into what we just read, and I can't really tie it into what we just read. So, I'm sure there's going to be more to what we read as we go on, and I'm sure that we will probably get more of the story as we go. It's amazing that I never understood it the first couple times through, but now that I have an idea of what's going on in the Bible, I really, things just kind of pop out at you, and you're able to understand it better. It's amazing stuff. All right, I will talk to y'all later. God bless every one of you. Is it Friday? Is it Friday? Yeah, it's Friday because trash got picked up yesterday. So, all right, it's Friday. Tomorrow we get to go to my granddaughter's birthday party. Yay! It's the first time I've seen her in 3 weeks. 3 weeks? Has it been 3 weeks? Yeah. Yeah, even though they moved out a week ago. Or no, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, they moved out 2 weeks ago, but I wasn't allowed to see her for that last week that they were here. It's a long story. It's a long, complicated story. So it's going to be nice to be able to actually get to see her, if I get to see her at all. So it is what it is. Why am I not allowed to see her? I tell the truth too much, I guess. I don't know. I said something that wasn't supposed to be said, or pissed somebody off, and nobody wanted to talk to me about it, and I was supposed to go apologize for something I didn't know what to do, or I didn't even know that I did, and I got punished for it. No, I want to talk about it. I don't want to just apologize. I want to talk about what happened, but nobody else wants to talk. they just want, instant results, and they don't want to act like civilized human beings for it. So I didn't get to see her. She was held away from me for that last 2 weeks that they lived here, and then I haven't seen them for 2 weeks since because they moved into a new house. So yeah, that's gonna be nice if I get to see her at all. Again, if I get to see her at all, I don't know. This world is messed up, man. This world is messed up and crazy, and the love of many shall grow cold. That's why we're here, I guess. Is to try to keep people somewhat civilized. All right. Take care of yourselves. I love you all. God bless every one of you. Oh, this world. This world. Man. All right. Speak up. Speak up, speak out, speak the truth. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid of it. And if you are shunned and pushed away for speaking the truth, don't worry about it. Christ said he did not come here to bring people together, but to pull people apart. I've actually, there's a woman that I met. I can't remember her name. I met her at one of the meetups that we had. She was telling me that she doesn't even talk to her family anymore because she would rather tell the truth, to tell the whole truth, to get her family to understand. And her family has absolutely shunned her. She has not seen her grandchildren. She has not seen her own kids. Nothing. It is sad and painful when people don't want to hear the truth. And when you know that all they need to do, because they're smart enough to listen to it. They're smart enough to hear it. They're smart enough to listen to it. They're smart enough to understand. They just won't, because it messes with their worldview and messes with everything that they know. All the lies that they've ever heard. They don't want to hear it. But it hurts. It hurts and it's painful. And God says to lean on him, to let him take that burden from you. Because the truth is not here to bring people together. It's going to push people away. I feel that pain. Other people have felt that pain worse than me. Just know that you are not alone. We are all scattered all over the place. You have to stay firm, stay strong. Put your faith and love in the Father. And pray that he will unburden their hearts. He will unstiffen their necks so that they will hear it the next time you say it to them. So, with that, I will talk to y'all later. Take care of yourselves.